Now, you don't have any prosthetics, correct?
No, I'm still early on. I only got injured the 21st of August. So I'm not even
Okay,
healed. I'm not even healed yet from,
okay.
I
But
don't know if you can
I'll
see.
show you options for what you got. You got range of motion might be restricted a little bit right now, but okay. So I can show you different options and tell you, I have two different prosthetics myself, a manual one and a myoelectric, of which the myoelectric is in the shop for a tune-up right now.
Yeah, you had mentioned that last week. Yeah, actually, my OT and I, that's our goal. That's what we're working on mostly is range of motion and strengthening up muscles in the fingers and stuff. So when down the road, when it comes time for prosthetics, I've got enough muscle strength and hopefully control that, I'll be able to work with them well. So that's kind of our goal as we're moving forward with OT stuff.
Yes, and that is a big thing. I went through my recovery is ongoing, but for the most part was 8 months that I was off work and went through 7 surgeries over that 8 months. And the more times you have surgery, the more scar tissue you have. And so it gets tough. Now, yours was a work accident also, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's 5 after, and we're just start talking about things. Again, I'm not a Zoom expert yet, so I took and printed off pictures, and so that's how I'll show the different things. First off, we have silicone fingers. This one would be for an individual that still has a thumb, but is missing 4 fingers down to at least the MP in your knuckle joint. It's probably the cheapest thing out there. Advantages and disadvantages. It looks real. That's the big advantage. Disadvantage is you have a thumb. Appearance wise, that's all you got.
Right.
The fingers don't move, and I don't have one, so I can't say. I mean, they flex a little bit, but like with me, I pinch 2 fingers and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. I think being silicone, those fingers will move a little bit. So you're restricted on how much pinch strength you would have with this particular one. But I saw a website just this morning where that's probably a couple of $1,000,
Right.
but you can get partial fingers and stuff in a few $100 type range for the individuals that are paying out of pocket or more concerned about appearance. And, I'm not taking anything away from appearance because early on, that's what it was. I took and hid my hand from everyone else's viewpoint. I was protecting them from seeing the ugly scars
Right.
that I have. Now I wear them as badge of honors. So going that way. And who was it that just joined? What's your name?
I think she's muted.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is
Hi.
Leilani. I'm on
Okay.
here. It's for my son Koa. Just listening.
Okay. Okay. And I'll just rattle away then. Okay. Quick thing, we just started, and this is a silicone hand. It's one of the most least cost out there, but functionality is very low, depending upon the amputation. But it can be made 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Next, and this is probably where most of you we've met, are MP drivers. These ones are made by Naked Prosthetics, and they are cool. You got 2 different styles, and I don't know all the specifics on strengths and stuff, but the one thing with these drivers that you have to have is range of motion. Now, it's Craig, right?
Yeah.
Craig, I want to say it's about 50 degrees range of motion.
Okay.
With these drivers, I got like about 45. It's questionable on my 1 digit whether I could use one of these. I've been talking a little bit about possibly trying one out or seeing if it would work.
Right.
Part of the disadvantages or challenges that we have, especially if you have several fingers going on and stuff, I got 2 that are missing to the MP joint, and then I got 1 that moves partially, is sorting all that out in your head. And so one of the issues with this might be when I have one of my prosthetics like this one on, that, sorry, I didn't flip anyone off. I can't be held accountable for what these fingers do. They have a mind of their own. But, these ones are manual. So I have to manipulate them with my hand. And that one MP driver, I could just do with a finger. Now, another thing is, if I don't have my prosthetic on, I could have a full finger there if I could get the range of motion. It's very touch and go because of my injury. I don't have the extensor tendons in this finger. They were ripped out. So that's why opening is my challenge. I can close, I can hold stuff, but trying to open and release is a challenge. This picture here is another one of the Naked Prosthetics MP, just showing the individual has 2 different ones on there, grabbing the ball. Again, that's Naked Prosthetics, but I'll mention the manufacturer, but all manufacturers work through prosthetist companies, whatever they be. And Another thing on prosthetists, go out there and, shop around. Find the individual that you can work with, because this is going to be a lifelong process. And depending upon your age, you might outlive your prosthetist and stuff. So, I have a very good relationship with my prosthetist, and I'm 4 years out of my accident, 3 years with my prosthetics, and they break down. If I go, well, let me back up and say, we set up where if it's a good year and nothing happens, I still send my prosthetics in to the manufacturers. We call them a tune-up. That way they go in, check, and make sure things don't happen, because, pardon the pun, but shit happens.
Yeah.
And there is no perfect prosthetic out there. None of them do everything. And if you go to my YouTube site at Jeff Giving a Hand, I will start posting some more videos and stuff. I'm an ambassador for my prosthetic, one of my prosthetic manufacturers, and we've been shooting some short video clips of me just doing everyday stuff with them. This one right here, it's called the titanium digit, and it is thumb, and it can be any finger. Pros and cons to it, where like mine, they ratchet down, and then there's a button here. You push and release, or you go all the way down, it will pop up and release. With the titanium, you have to pull it out to release it, to get it to move back. I want to say price-wise, it's lower end of mechanical type prosthetics. Now we come to prosthetic, that one of them that I wear. This one is Point Designs. They're manual. With mine, this hand right here was probably one of the first 5 that they built. We're working on getting the newest, latest, and greatest for me and stuff. They're great. This honestly is my go-to hand. If I have a prosthetic on, 80% of the time it is this one. They say each finger can hold 100 pounds. Weak link is carbon fiber shell. I broke it a couple of times. We reinforce it. But I love them. I've gotten to the point where when I have it on, I can, I'll have it somewhat closed most of the time, just so I'm not poking, jamming things. But it's become a reaction move where I just hit it, it pops open. I go to whatever is going to be. We'll try this out in the jar and grab it. Of course, I'm cheating. It doesn't show so much, but it's my pinky that's holding it secure there.
Sorry, I got pinkies. Good thing I have pinkies.
Yes, yes. I mean, honestly, that's a very good thing because it's an anchor point that, you know, index is good too for the thumb, but your pinky is an anchor. And, you know, I thank my hand surgeon all the time when I see him and stuff that he's given me the strongest pinky in the world. Back to your injury, and one of the things with me, Craig, is my hands, I had more digits initially, and they were pinned for 12 weeks. And that's where I lost, I didn't have any damage to my pinky, but I lost range of motion because I wasn't working it.
Right.
So, yeah, you focus on what is damaged, but learn from me. Do not forget your lone soldier setting out there.
You can see they actually left my pinkies out of the bandages on purpose so I could use them, because that was really basically all I had.
Yeah.
With. I've got, you know, this thumb. Now this cap is going to come off eventually. That was crushed also, but it's like it's hard, and
okay.
that's wrong because it was the best protection for what was, you know, how it's healing itself underneath.
Yeah.
And then this thumb I've got half. Well, this thumb's been wrapped up, so the pinkies were doing everything. You know, I could dress myself with my pinkies. I could do it. I could put my shoes on. I had slip-on shoes. I could put them on with my pinkies. I still use my pinkies for those things because I'm still real sensitive. You know, I've still got scabs and stuff, but I'm also real sensitive around the, you know, where the areas where the grafts and stuff are. And I'm being sensitive about not hitting them and tearing up the grafts either right at this point. So, yeah, without my pinkies, I'd have been up the creek. I wouldn't have been able to do anything. At all. And they've gotten strong and stronger every day.
Yeah. And count your blessings. You know, I have a picture about 4 months out of my 7th surgery. My 7th surgery was a tendon lysis because I had lost so much range of motion in my pinky that the surgeon went in and did a tendon release to give me more range of motion. Right. And I have a picture where I deadlifted, unassisted, no strapper, anything, 235 pounds.
Wow.
And that's again why I go and thank him and say, you gave me the strongest pinky in the world, Doc. So thank you. But also going back, so with the point design, they can make them up however it be, whichever digit is missing, if it's 1 digit missing. And they also just recently came out with partials for partial fingers. Initially, all these, you had to be amputated down to your knuckle, MP. So that's why with mine, I have 2 fingers because I got the residual. And, you know, all of us are different. None of them work and do everything that original equipment did, but we chose not to amputate my ring finger back to the MP so that when I was not wearing a prosthetic, I didn't have to reach all the way to my pinky to grab stuff, that I could go shorter distance and stuff. And, you know, I'm sure you're starting to realize the battle and going and picking stuff up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's a challenge, and people don't realize that. You know, especially us that are, I want to say, in an industrial environment. We grew up rough and tough. And a lot of people look at me and go, oh, it's only a finger, or only a couple of fingers, no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I do a lot, but it is a big deal.
Yeah.
They don't see the battles I have with the fine stuff, the paper stack. Now, here's the other one of my hand, the one that's in the shop. It's called an iDigits. It's myoelectric, where I have two sensors right here and two sensors on the side. The way it works is I pinch my knuckles together, and that closes the fingers, and I move my pinky to the side, and that opens it. And then there's smartphones, apps, and stuff where I can go in and change how it grips and stuff, whether it's one finger just working or both. Advantages, disadvantages. 30-pound weight limit to it. Depending upon your injury and your muscles and stuff, yours will probably be easier than mine because I had so much tore out of mine. But you have to think about it. For me, your muscles, they can probably attach to like your fingers, and it's just a normal action. For me, having to pinch my knuckles together, that's not a normal action.
No.
So I have to think about what I'm doing to get this to work. So it's nice. I kind of call it my go to church hand, you know, when I go out on a day to dinner and stuff. Yeah, I wear this one. Kids love it because I'm a cyborg. You know, it's got electric motors and it goes, So at the restaurant, you got the little kid in the booth next to you when it's non-COVID. I
can see that, yes. I would have as a kid. Oh, that's cool. Look at that, Mom.
Yeah. Now, another disadvantage to it is because of the electric motors and stuff, these fingers are like an inch and a half longer than my natural fingers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I got a very big hand. I wish I could palm a basketball or something. But on the flip side of that, I'd probably break the fingers bouncing the ball and stuff.
So while that's okay to use for little stuff, if you're doing stuff around the house, you're going to use your mechanical, your other one for doing stuff around the house more than that. Okay.
Yes, I will. And, you know, we're all different. It's all frustrating. You know, let me back up. If you can work it, try and get them, with you being workers' comp, to buy both.
Mm-hmm.
This is just my thought process, with the fact that I think they'll be able to do the sensors in your fingers, so it's more a natural movement. I am more dominant right hand,
Yeah.
but I'm going to hang some angle brackets to put my surround system up today, and I have to use the drill left-handed because I can't pull the trigger. And you know, I could grab it and create it, but it's a struggle, so I just do it left-handed. The fact that you have both hands in your situation, it might not be that big of a struggle for you to hold it in whichever is your dominant hand. And in my electric, you know, you just sense your finger moving and it pulls the trigger for you.
Okay.
So, and I want to say within the Touch Bionics, you can set it up where if it doesn't have that pull signal, it will open up. So that could be your release of a trigger. Right. So you pull it, it closes it up, and no signal automatically opens. Or that's one of those options within the downfall is you might start dropping stuff in that sense.
Stop thinking about what you're doing and you're dropping stuff, or you're okay.
Exactly. You know, it was one of the first days that I got my iDigit, and I went and picked up a little dumbbell just to see, and I took and I lowered it to my side, and as soon as I lowered it to my side, it released and dropped the dumbbell on the floor. And you know, that's one of my challenges. I was in therapy and we were working with my hand, and they took me over to the cupboard and opened it, and they go, okay, pull X number of items out of the cupboard, different shelves, and put them down on the counter, and then take and put them back up. Well, with my situation, it was great. I could grab them, pick them, put them on the counter, but on the upper shelves, when I went to go back, I was reaching and my arm sticking out there. I couldn't move my pinky sideways to release in that situation. You know, it's a very unnatural movement. Right. It's one of those things where you put your hand on the flat table and then try and raise your pinky or your ring finger off the table and see if you can do that type thing. Unnatural. And so it's one of those, I'll go with option B. You know, and that's back to with my mechanical hand. I'll take, and sometimes I won't do it tight. Having my pinky, I'll use the grip. If it's a jar or something to the cupboard type thing, it's light.
Right.
I'll cheat in a sense, use the pinky to grip it, but one of the problems I have at least, between my thumb and pinky, if I don't have anything there and I try and do something with one hand, they're opposing. So it's like I'm twirling the baton.
Yeah.
It'll just sit there and spin. But if I have my hand on there, use the grip of the pinky and let it just rest against the other fingers.
Right.
That way I'm not reaching up in the cupboard and then have to try and release the fingers to get it out, type thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I know I'm months away from any of that kind of stuff yet anyway, but that's the goal, is just getting myself to where when we get to that point, I'll have the strength and dexterity and range of motion to hopefully, allow me to use prosthetics to the max or as much as I can.
Yeah, and there's a learning curve
Oh yeah.
to all of it. The biggest thing I can say is don't get frustrated. Don't think on the negative side of things. Of talking about having a mindset of being lost or thinking, of everything I lost.
Right.
Early on, I went at it as the newborn child and going, okay, there's a great big world out there. Let's go out and see what I can learn to do. And that is positive, and it just helps, to keep those negative thoughts out of your head, because no matter how strong you are, we all get frustrated.
Right.
If it was a big traumatic injury, more than likely there's a little bit of anxiety at least, or some PTSD associated with it. I have it myself. I find the sitting around is the worst thing possible. Even if you just get out and go for a little walk, it's breathe some fresh air. It might not be the cleanest air depending upon where you are. But it's good for you.
Yeah, I haven't gone down that rabbit hole with the self-pity and the just woe is me and stuff like that. I mean, I've had a day or two once in a while where I just kind of bummed because I didn't do anything, but because I couldn't do anything, but most of the time, and my goal, my drive is to get myself down the road back to doing as much as I could do before as I can.
Yeah.
Myself, and not have to rely on somebody to do certain things. Now, is that going to be everything? No, I'm not going to be everything like I was, and I'm going to have help. But, I know that if down the road and I've got prosthetics and stuff and I'm going to do something and I can't do all of it, I know ahead of time I need help so that I can get the help ahead of time and not put myself in a place where I get frustrated because I can't do the things I need to do with a project, whatever it is I'm working, doing. I've already got the help there, so I'm not frustrated because we're doing it together, and I've eliminated that frustration off the bat. Is that going to happen every time? No, but it's just finding a new way to do something when you get frustrated.
Exactly, and one of the things I joke, when we moved into this house, I built shelves in the garage, and I have a Lowe's home improvement store around the corner from me, and I joke that every time I go in there, if I walk into the lumber, they start running because, sure, I could take and cut up all the 2x4s to build those shelves and stuff, but it'd take me 10 times longer.
Mhm.
I would get very frustrated and tired. And so to alleviate things, I go in there with a cut sheet.
Yeah.
And I grab all the wood. I go back to their saw and I go, okay, I need these 2x4s cut to this length. And then I bring them home.
Yeah.
And it's just the Lego build.
Right.
And, you know, I have someone helping me, or I have my clamps and, you know, clamp things together and drill and screw. I drill and screw versus hammering nowadays. You know, it's quicker, a little more sure,
Yeah.
and
I can see
less
that.
likely of hitting residual digits that might be a very lucrative commodity.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. But I'm looking forward to getting to that point where, you know, where I can drill and screw and do some things. And I know that's coming down the road. So that's my drive. I want to get to those kind of points. And, you know, right now, I know it's going to come in stages. Right now, yeah, the first stage was I couldn't do hardly anything because I had bandages on.
Yeah.
You know, now the last 3 weeks or so with no bandages, so I can do more, but
Yeah.
still not everything. And I
Yeah.
know because they're still sensitive, I still got scabs. I had, you know, grafts I have to be careful of, you know, that I don't rip those because I really don't want more pain in my leg where you, as I told my doctor, taking a Stanley plane and just pulling the pieces, you know, the skin off to use. I said, that hurt worse than anything else with my leg getting better. Yeah. But, and I know once the scabs and the fingers they're not healed, but the scabs and stuff are gone, and that stuff's all healed up. That's another, you know, another starting point. We can start doing more things with you know, she wants to do my OT is a woman and very good. She wants to do tapping where we tap the ends. She says that helps not only
Desensitize.
Desensitize, but she says it also helps retrain your brain to know the length of your finger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm looking forward to that because I most of the time now when I hit them, it's because my brain doesn't know where the ends are anymore. And so if I'm not watching what I'm doing when I'm reaching for something or sticking my hand somewhere so that I don't hit something, that's when I hit something because my brain doesn't know that, oh, hey, guess what? You're right there. You're going to hit that, you know? So I'm looking forward to that kind of stuff. And I know it's going to be in stages and I just look to conquer each stage and move to the next stage and just, like I said, to get back as close as I can to what I used to be able to do.
And that's just it. We don't always have the touch sensation. If you have a prosthetic on, you have no touch sensation for the tips of those fingers and stuff. And I just learned recently how much I had picked up relying on sight, like you just said, you know, seeing what you were doing.
Right.
And I was loading my trailer up one morning and it was dark and I climbed up in it and I was doing stuff down at my feet, but I couldn't see. So I kept sitting there kind of swatting with my hand to find that strap, you know, because I don't have the feeling in my fingers and stuff. Okay, I had to feel it hit my arm and then slowly come up. But, you know, because I didn't have the sight, it was dark out and things. So, yeah, we don't realize it a lot of times, but other senses will start picking up and taking a bigger role in what things are.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that already with some of the stuff. Yeah, just catch myself automatically looking when before I wouldn't have looked. You know,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
didn't have to. You knew where your fingers were. You knew exactly where the ends of them were. You knew exactly where they were in relation to what you were doing. So I caught myself looking more, and actually part of it is too is I'm training myself to try to look more too. And I know if I'm doing a couple, I don't know what they are. I know there's some repetitive things I do, not well, opening a doorknob where you're real close to the jam, and I
yeah.
don't want to hit right. I'm forcing, I force myself to watch my hand so that
Oh,
I'm
yes.
looking at the point of where I'm doing something. And now, I get to the point where automatically I look instead of having to force myself to look. And so, and I know that's going to be more and more of that'll happen as I start to do more and more things, and I'll just have to. I don't have a choice. I don't know where my fingers are, so I have to look to see where my fingers are.
Yeah, and I think all along you will still feel them.
Hmm.
I still feel mine all the time.
Hmm.
My One of my biggest challenges is like you were talking about desensitizing the tips.
Right.
My index knuckle, it sticks out, and I hit it on things all the time.
Mm.
And um, well, I basically have skin over bone right there
Yeah.
on it, but it'll send me to the ground.
Oh yeah.
Cry.
Yeah. It doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, the first thing that happened was we were at a fast food restaurant and I went to throw the garbage away,
Yeah.
right? And you walk up to the garbage can, and what do? You take one hand and you push the door open and you send the tray in. Well, because of no fingers here, I'm holding the tray in my left hand and I hit that door with that knuckle. And that was my learning point of, oh,
Yeah.
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 Don't
I've had a
try
couple
it.
of those. Yeah.
Take baby steps and go at things slowly nowadays. Don't think it is what life has been for 50 years or whatever
Yeah.
your
60.
age is.
Yeah.
Go at baby steps.
Yeah. Cool.
Any other questions?
No, that was nice to learn a little bit about prosthetics. I mean, so nice to know what to look forward to,
Yes.
and motivation to work more with getting all my flexibility and getting all those muscles that I've got there. And you're like, I am lucky that I've got. I mean, there's nothing here at all. It's
Yeah.
that knuckle joint, very little bit here, but I've still got range of motion there, and I've got
Yes.
muscles there that'll work things. And these, we do an exercise here where I can do this finger, but she'll put it right here to make me do that first
Yeah.
joint and
Yeah.
strengthen that up too. So that's exercises we do. And then we do other exercises to do the whole arms and the whole, all the other muscles in my hand. We flex the fingers out and then bring them together and flex them all out. So we're working, that's a big goal, is just range of motion and strength and control and all those in what I've got. So when the time comes, it hopefully will be easier to use a prosthetic and give me a better
Yes.
choice of what I can do with them too, and which ones to use. So,
Yes. And, don't, that's very good point to not just focus on the hand, but work your whole arm,
yep.
because you're focusing on your hand, but losing residual in your arm and stuff.
Yeah, we work on resistance for the arm and all 4 directions, and we even do shoulder exercise. I got a band I put in my hands, and I'm doing shoulder exercises and stuff just to work the whole arm. So that's why I love my OT. She's hand certified. She's been doing OT stuff for, I don't know, 20 years or so, and she's been doing hand stuff specifically a lot for most of that time too. So she really knows what goes on in your hands and what it takes to help control those. And so she doesn't cut me any slack at all. We're working everything. We work the pinkies too, even though they get the most work during, at all, just what I'm doing. We work the pinkies too to help keep them strong and get better and a little more control and stuff like that. So I like her. Yeah, so she puts me through the ringer, but it's good twice a week.
Yeah, and just so you know, if no one's told you, PT stands for pain and trauma.
Yeah. And actually PT for me stands for physical terrorist. Yeah. And OT, occupational terrorist. Yeah. So,
yeah, because you got to push through the pain to get anything. I sit there. Both my parents have passed away, but I was a caregiver for my mother a lot of years, and I say my parents were great examples for me in both good and bad.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was a great example of pushing through pain and stuff, and he had both knees replaced, and he was in the best shape of his life after he had his knee replacement.
Yeah.
My mother started falling, and her statement to us was, I'm just going to sit here until it quits hurting.
Yeah.
It's never going to quit hurting. You got to push through the pain and learn the ways that you can manage that pain.
Right.
And now one thing that will probably become a challenge and stuff. Are you Georgia? Where are you, Craig?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. I thought you were down in the South, but we just had a storm come through last night here, and I knew the storm was coming 2 days ago. Right. And I don't like to take meds unless I absolutely have to. And last night I had to take a pill.
Yeah.
It's been weeks since, and I just know that now with the change of season, the storms coming in through, I don't beat myself up about it and stuff, because I take a few a month. Through the season changes, come summer or we get into the main heart of a season, things calm down for me. But it's those changes of when, I'll take a pill today and I'll be fine, and that's it.
Yeah, right now I'm on, all my pain right now is all nerve pain. So
and that's what mine is too.
I'm taking gabapentin 3 times a day, but it's the lowest dose you can take. And that really, if I miss a dose, it starts to ramp up a little bit. I feel it, but it's not like debilitating. So I can, push, say, okay, well, like if we're out and about doing something and I'm like, oh, I missed my afternoon dose, and I can start to feel it a little bit, but I can wait till we get home and then take it and like, okay, I'm, fine. But I look forward to eventually getting to a point where it'll be more as needed, not like every day. I'm not a big wanting to take medicine every day kind of person anyway. But
and one of the things, just so you're aware, I don't know if you're working with a pain management doctor yet or not. Initially, I was on gabapentin, basically the same dosage that you just told. But one of the downfalls to gabapentin is you have to ramp up
Yeah.
and ramp down, and
Right.
missing them is not a good thing.
Well,
So I've switched to
Yeah.
Lyrica because I can take it only as needed.
we may do that eventually. I'm blessed in the fact that my wife is not only an RN, but she's also wound care certified. So that's been a big blessing for me.
Bonus.
So
Yes.
but yeah, we know that, and eventually we'll look at those kind of that possibility. Like I said, I'm only a month and a half from the initial accident to begin with, so that tingly is is there all the time. Gabapentin just helps keep it to where it's. I think if I was out the gabapentin totally, the pain wouldn't be enough to debilitate me, but it would certainly be enough it would be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So
Take you to those darker places.
right, and right. So I don't need that. So I'll keep doing it while I'm still recovering, and then we'll look at when I get in the future. I'll definitely be looking to get ramped off of it and find something else for those occasions when I do need it. Because as I said, I don't like taking medicine.
Yes.
I don't want to take it, but I don't have to. And again, that's another goal. It's down the road. I know it's coming, but I'm work to that point when I'll get to that point, and I'll be glad when I'm there. And like you, something that I can take that occasionally, you hit it real hard, something it doesn't want to go away. Yeah, I'll be looking for something, but I don't want to take it all the time. But that's, for me, it's down the road right now. But looking forward to it when I get to that point. And my wife's the same way, because she knows about the gabapentin, and we're just riding it out while we have to. And like I said, it's still early in my injury, so.
Yes. You're doing great, though. I mean, from the couple of times we've been on the call together and stuff, you got to get an attitude, and, life is not easy. And today I am wearing my Sarah Strong shirt. July 30th, there were 4 teenagers, high school kids, coming home from the lake, and they got hit head on by a drunk driver.
Oh, geez.
Sarah is 17 years old, a month from starting her senior year, cheerleader, and I'm pretty sure she was probably the driver.
Mm-hmm.
She was the worst. They life flighted her to primary children's and then transferred her to the Huntsman Center. But she's paralyzed from the waist down, and they had to amputate both legs mid-thigh.
Jesus.
And she's very positive and stuff. She's been through hell for just over 2 months now, but she is going to be released to come home here this next week. And I count my blessing. I'm a boo-boo compared to what she's gone through. There's always someone that
worse off.
has been worse off than us. I don't care how bad. There's people out there, the quadriplegic, that have to use
you got that
mouth driver to drive a wheelchair.
That guy from, I think he's from Australia, has got basically no legs,
Nick.
no arms, and he's a motivational speaker.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's
he doesn't care that he is as he is, because he's a great, I've seen some of his, you know, bits and pieces, and I was like, wow, you know, he's definitely a motivational speaker to get you going, overcome everything. He just doesn't let it stop him. Doesn't let it slow him down.
Exactly. You know, he's married. He has kids. I
Yeah.
have another friend of mine that is a double leg amputee. He got hit by a semi at age 6. And he has no legs. He just turned 33 years old. He's married. He has 6 kids. 4 of them are back biological. 2 of them they adopted from overseas. And he's the most amazing guy. He does obstacle course races with me. And he literally drags his wheelchair behind him. He has made this thing, I call it a bucket, that he hops into, you know, this heavy leather and a belt on it. And he just arm power.
Yeah.
You know, he'll do 10 miles, 20 miles on his arms, just pushing himself along and stuff. And then he's a total beast, arm strength wise.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I wouldn't arm wrestle any of those guys. No, if you've been in a wheelchair for quite a while, I wouldn't arm wrestle you at all.
Exactly. Okay, so this was recorded. I'm going to post it to the YouTube just so people can see the differences in prosthetics and stuff and options. I'll put some links in there and stuff. So just spread the word. It will be on the Jeff Giving a Hand YouTube site. And God bless.
Thanks for letting me join in late. I didn't want to interrupt anybody, but I appreciate being here, and I'll see you next week if I can.
Okay, and
Thank you.
that's why I'm going to post this one. I didn't want to go back through when you hopped in, but that way you can see everything that I talked about. Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks,
Thank
Jeff.
you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good rest
Have
of
a
your
great
day.
weekend.
Yep. You
See ya.
too. Bye.